Hey everybody, it's Brooke with the Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have a beautiful, beautiful toasted coconut layer cake for you. You will not want to miss a thing, so stay tuned. All right, we start with our cake mix and our dry ingredients. So we have 3 cups of cake flour. I like using Swan's Down. It's milled really fine. Then to that we add 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Then another 1/2 teaspoon of salt because it's a cake. So you have to have salt to kind of even things out and make it lessen the acidity. So now we mix up our wet ingredients, and that is 3 sticks of softened or room temperature butter. To that we add 2 cups of regular white granulated sugar, and we're going to cream those till they're light and fluffy. Once you get those creamed, you can start adding in your 5 eggs one at a time, mixing each one in well. Now add in the last of the 5 eggs and get that all mixed nice and together. Now to our wet ingredients, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of almond extract and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. 2 extracts together make for a very interesting flavor combination that accentuates the coconut. So now we're going to add our dry ingredients to our wet, and I like to do it just a little bit at a time and alternate that with 1 cup of 2% milk. I like using 2% here because we have lots of fat already. It makes for a really light and flavorful crumb on the cake. Now goes in the last half of the dry to the wet, and then the last 1/2 cup of our milk. The milk helps flour not go everywhere. You can certainly do this with a hand mixer. I'm just doing it with my spatula. And you see I'm finishing it off to make sure I get all that flour nice and incorporated in. And we're going to scrape down the sides. I like to tell people always scrape down your sides and the bottom because you have hidden flour in there and it gives you a chance to get it all worked in. Now I have 3 pans that I'm lightly greasing with some cooking spray. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to put 1/3 of the cake batter in each of the pans. Spread it out in a nice single layer. You can tap it, you can jiggle it, and make sure you don't have any bubbles. But we're going to trim this cake up later anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Next pan, the second third of the batter goes in. And you can do this in little bits at a time if you like, and add to it to make sure it's all evenly distributed between the 3. These will bake in that 350 degree oven, not long, about 40 minutes, and then we're going to let them cool for a little while in the pan and then flip them out onto a cooling rack so we can ice them, trim them up and ice them later. Pop them in the oven, and in about 40 minutes you'll have 3 really nice vanilla flavored cakes. Now while our cakes are cooking or cooling, let's make this beautiful icing. So to a bowl, we are adding in 1 stick of softened butter and 8 ounces of cream cheese. This icing recipe is easily doubled if you wanted a thicker icing, but we're covering this with toasted coconut, so it really doesn't need a whole lot. We'll cream those 2 things together until they're nice and mixed well and light and fluffy. Now to this, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and get that all nice and mixed in. Now we add in a full 16 ounces of powdered or confectioner's sugar. I like to do this just like the dry ingredients with the cake and mix it in a little bit at a time. It makes for a smoother icing and a much cleaner mixing of the icing, and you don't have a big puff of sugar going everywhere. Not too bad anyway. You'll still see I've got it. So I do it in thirds. It makes it a little easier. And the icing will stiffen up as you add that confectioner's sugar in. You can store this in the refrigerator until your cakes are ready to ice. Or if your kitchen is not too warm, you can store it at room temperature. Or you can do this ahead of time. It keeps nicely in the fridge in an airtight container. Whenever you're ready to ice your cakes, it will be ready for you. So we get that all nice and mixed up. Now let's make the coconut. Oh, but before we do, don't forget, just like your cake batter, scrape down those sides for that hidden powdered sugar. Now we take about 4 ounces of sweetened or unsweetened coconut. The sweetened toasts a little bit better because it's got added sugar. So we just put that in a shallow pan at medium heat and just toast it until it turns nice and light brown like you see here. Stay with it. It'll happen before you know it. So I never leave this unattended. There, we have it. Let it cool. And it's ready to go. We are trimming up our cake layers. As you can see here, I'm using a bread knife to get it all nice and even. Then we take a dollop, just a little bit of that icing, and just spread it right across the top so our layers stick together. Now I do this because I like to get it, all cakes are uneven, so I do each layer individually to try to get it as even as I can. I am not the best cake decorator, so y'all just bear with me, but we want those layers to stick together. And this doesn't have to be beautiful or perfect either. We're going to cover it up with that toasted coconut. So I start by putting a large portion on the top and spread it out and kind of spread it over the edges, and then take my offset spatula and turn it and just ice the sides. You can come back with a bench scraper and make it naked, but there's really no need. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're going to put that toasted coconut over the top and spread it out into an even layer. Then to put the coconut on the sides, I just get some in the palm of my hand, spread it out evenly, and then just pat it on. It's going to stick. It's going to be perfect. And that spills over on the sides, you can scrape off and put back up over on the cake. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, yes, it does seem like a lot of work, but would you just look at how perfect this cake is? And this is my favorite cake to make because I am not a great cake icer. I'm not. This is a beautiful and delicious way to hide those imperfections, and you are left with a gorgeous cake. Nobody knows the imperfections are there, and that toasted coconut, man, even if you did know they were there, by the time you taste it, along with this simple vanilla cake, you'll be happy. Let's taste it. It's so good. That toasted coconut almost turns into candy. It's delicious, and the cake is moist. You know why? Because we checked it with a thermometer and made sure that it did not go over 205 degrees. So it's moist and it's delicious and it's everything you want in a cake. This cake is my favorite because, like I said before, I'm not good at decorating cakes. So this and the naked cake, which is what I showed you I almost did in the beginning, are visually the prettiest that I make. So we hope that you will try this recipe and love it as much as we do. Like all of our other recipes, it can be found over at thebutteredhome.com. We would love for you to give us a visit. We work real hard on our website. Also, if you're not already, make sure you're following us on all of our social channels. We have a really good time and we want you with us no matter where we are. And as always, if you want all of our videos in one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and when you find us, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. All right, Big D's going to be excited. This is one of his favorites, and he's been working really hard today, so I can't wait to let him eat all he wants before I give the rest of it away. As usual, from the Buttered Home to your home, we sure love y'all. Bye.